Welcome back. We're here to preview Saturday's game at Selhurst Park between Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Barnes will start with Palace, hosted Arsenal last time out and suffered their first defeat of the season.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad performance from Alan Pardew's side, but again they were a bit short of their best. They were quite fortunate against Norwich on the opening day of the season. Had that Cameron Jerome disallowed goal, that penalty claim that got turned down against them. So they were quite fortunate to win that match, but you're not going to get away with that against the big boys. Again, they were short of their best. They matched Arsenal for periods, but Arsenal were the better team overall. They deserved the win. Ozil had a really good game for Arsenal. Palace struggled to deal with him in the hole. And with the likes of Mile Jedinak not playing at the moment, and they got Kabay in there, you just feel maybe they lack a bit of that strength in the middle of the park. And they've obviously got great talent on the wings. They've got fast, powerful strikers as well if they need them. And Connor Wickham made his debut in that match, but never really got into the game. Balassi and Zaha. Balassi came off at half-time despite playing quite well in the first half, which was quite interesting. But yeah, just overall, they're not really hitting their stride at the moment. And considering a lot of people are tipping them maybe even to push for Europe this season, they're predicted to have a really good season under Pardew. It's a pretty underwhelming start for them, really, I think.
I think the Balassi situation is quite an interesting one. You know, he's sort of come out and said, he's been a bit flattered by the interest in Spurs and from Spurs, and you think that maybe would he be interested in a move there? And if they lose him, they certainly want Bakary Sakho to get back to full fitness, because the Sakho situation this summer, he left Wolves at the end of his contract, a very explosive player, quite similar to Balassi. And you look at the players they've got, they can be a real counter-attacking threat. Zaha on one wing, say Balassi, and then if Sakho comes in on another. But yeah, I think they do need more from their strikers. Wickham he had that chance, didn't he, which he missed. And I think Bamford might struggle with the adapting to Premier League life. And look at their other players. They've got Shamak, he might be back for this game as well, and Fraser Campbell. You just wonder if they've got enough sort of goal scoring up front, because Wickham, he never really scored many goals at Sunderland, and I just wonder with those sort of players if they really need like an out and out goal scorer. And Glenn Murray, he can score goals, but you wonder if he's sort of fit enough to play week in week out in the Premier League. And I just think they might struggle to score enough goals to, like you say, really push for those European places.
Yeah, it's probably what they're missing, isn't it? I think something else that will be key to their European chances is home form. If they can improve at home, because Pardew, he did a fantastic job when he came in, but his home record under Palace, I think he's lost more than half of his home games now after that Arsenal defeat. Away from home, they're superb. I think they had the fifth best away record in the Premier League last season, which is a superb record for a team like Palace. And it's easy to see why, with their counter-attacking ability, as you mentioned, that suits itself to away games more than it does to home games. But there's a feeling that Selhurst Park is a fortress, really. The crowd are always noisy, they're really good, but the actual results Crystal Palace have been getting there have not been very good, and they need to improve that if they are to make the next step up into that top 8, top 7 bracket.
Certainly, I think they'll fancy their chances here against a Villa team who, they've had an okay start to the season. They went to Bournemouth on the opening day, a really tough game there. Bournemouth's first ever game in the Premier League. A lot of hype surrounding their story, rags to riches and all this sort of stuff. I mean, they've been invested a lot of money from a Russian billionaire, so I'm not sure it's as pretty as it all sounds. But it was a decent win to go there and get the win. Gusted on his debut as well, getting the goal. But last week, they welcomed Manchester United to Villa Park, and United, we've talked about it before, they haven't been all that convincing in the start of the season, but they looked defensively very solid. They frustrated Villa for long periods. They got the goal through Januzaj. It wasn't the best finish from him. It sort of took a little deflection, went in off the post, but Villa, they never quite got going in that game. And I mean, losing to United, it's not the worst thing, but at this stage of the season, United don't look at their best, and maybe Sherwood will view it as a missed chance for at least a point, maybe, but they weren't at their best, but they were looking to bounce back here.
Yeah, I mean, 3 points from the opening 2 games is not a terrible start for Villa. They're expected by many people to be again battling against relegation. Adama Traore, his introduction could change that. A lot was expected of him. He didn't play on Friday, but when he gets in and up to speed, that might change things, give him more of an attacking threat going forward. I think the next 2 games after this one are very important for them. They've got Sunderland, who, as we know, have been woeful so far this season. They'll be expecting a win out of that if Sunderland carry on their terrible form. And then they've got Leicester, who they've started the season well, but again, they're expected to be in and around Villa. Sunderland and Leicester, you'd see them as relegation rivals for Villa this season. So if they can get points out of those games, and then they've got West Brom after that, which is a bit of a tougher test, but still they might expect to get something out of that. So coming up, there's some big games for them to try and get points out of. This one's going to be a tough one, but as I mentioned, Palace's home form isn't great, so they'll be hopeful of getting something as well.
Certainly a really important stretch this for Villa. Say if they only get maybe 1 win or even no wins out of these next 4 games, they'll be looking at the ones after that, and they might be really struggling. And big bonus to them this week, Jack Grealish might be back fit, and obviously he impressed when he came in last season, so if he can come back for them, that's a big boost for them. But what's your score prediction?
Yeah, quite a tough one to predict. As I keep coming back to Palace's home form, they're they should win this match. They've got the players to win this match, I think, and if it was away from home, I wouldn't hesitate and predict them to win the match. But their home form is just, you never know which Palace is going to turn up. If their players do turn up, I'm predicting them to get the win, and I think they'll get the win by 1 goal. I'll go for 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I'm actually going to completely agree. I think that Arsenal was a really tough test last week, especially Arsenal after that poor result to West Ham on the opening day. So I think to only lose by 1 goal to Arsenal isn't too bad. And I'm expecting them to win 2-1 here as well. So both back in Palace to win this one 2-1. Thanks for joining us.